Hi everyone and welcome to episode 223 of the Mighty Whites podcast. I'm Jack, as always joined by Casey.
What?
Well, Casey, it's 10 days until the first game and I have just one question for you. Are we ready?
No.
I said, are we ready?
Damn it, I said no.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. There's a couple of bits of housekeeping since the last podcast. Greta Steinson has been confirmed as a technical director and Ethan Ampadu has signed. But we did talk about both of those as if they were definitely going to happen on the last show. So should we talk about the friendly that neither of us properly got to watch first, or the little bit of news that there is?
Yeah, let's quickly gloss over a textbook 2-0 defeat to Monaco.
Okay, well, the first half I thought was pretty good, and that was the bit that I got to see most of. I didn't see the first 8 minutes. Got to half-time, and I thought I was pretty pleased with us at half-time. I thought I played some decent football. We're Leeds United, we're passing the ball. It was nice to see. There was a little bit of confusion at the back with some of the passing, but at this stage, I'm all right with that. And I thought that we more than matched them. I thought we were pretty good up until half-time, and it was 0-0 at half-time. And then, full disclosure, I went out for a mate's birthday. So I've only actually seen the highlights of the second half, and there wasn't much to that.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I was out during this game, and BBC was not doing this one on the radio this time.
Right. So the BBC was perfectly able to handle Oslo, but not York.
Yes.
Cool.
Just making sure. No, we looked fine in spells. But again, it's really tough to take it when you're looking at a team going, we still don't have a left back. We are still in desperate need of central midfielders now that it's certain Adam Forshaw's not coming back.
Yep.
Jorginho Rutter, who his own manager has said, I see him as a wide player, is our striker at the moment.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was going to bring up, because I fancy Rutter to have a good season if we use him properly. But I do not see up front by yourself as using him properly. I could see it more in a 2, but I don't think that him and Bamford would work. But by all accounts, in the second half, Bamford didn't look up to much. But that's just based on what other people have said. I didn't really see it. So.
Yeah. And then, obviously, second half is kind of killed off by all the changes. I know a lot of the players coming in are still what you would consider first-team players, but it's very, very nice to see Sam Byram.
Yeah, that was something that I didn't actually make a note of. Yeah, Sam Byram with his
left back.
With his proper number of 25.
Yep.
By all accounts, did fine at left back when he came on. I think that's going to end up happening, just because I don't think there's going to be a massive queue for his signature. And if he is the 25th man in a 25-man squad, he'll be your third choice right back and probably currently your second or third choice left back.
See, one of the problems I think with the squad rules are, I honestly think anyone who comes from your academy should not count towards the 25 regardless of age.
Yeah,
so,
I'm not actually sure what the rules are now. Is the Championship the same as the Premier League? Is it you have to have 8 English academies and 4 from your own academy in your 25?
And I don't think it's as strict, to be honest.
Yeah.
In terms of the Premier League doesn't need that many. I think that's European. I think that's European squads you're thinking of. I think Premier League needs just 4 homegrown, if I remember rightly. But yeah, it's. I mean, looking at our squad at the moment, I don't think registration is going to be a problem for us.
No, because we just don't. I mean, we don't have that many players, and like some of the ones that are playing are going to be under the age anyway. But how old's Rutter?
20.
He has turned 21 now, so he might count. But there's a lot of them that won't. But yeah, Byram, if he's in as a backup, I think he's fine. The goals themselves, Nonto made a bit of a silly tackle, but he's not exactly known for his defending. Gave away a penalty. Ben Yedder takes it well. And the second one was a Kevin Volland header, which was a cross in. And there's people having to go at Mellier's positioning because he is like 6 yards off his line. But with where the cross was from, I think it'd have been weirder if he'd have been on his line.
Yeah, it's a header from the edge of the penalty area that you would not be expecting to be a shot, because scoring
Especially
a header from there. Well, yeah, like scoring a header from there against the last defender is poor defending, really. But yeah, I would hold that against Mellier.
There's 2 Leeds defenders around him, and neither one of them really marks him. I think that's more the issue than Mellier on that one.
Just looking at the squad, at the starting lineup, by the way. I'm looking at that thinking if as how we started that game is probably what Farke's in his head thinking. These are the players I know will be here at the start of the season. I wonder if that's kind of the thinking with some of that. And again, a lot of that is reading between the lines in terms of how much Sinistera has been featured in the media stuff.
Yeah.
Dan James. Yeah. You look at Rute, and then obviously Ampadu new signing. Strauch from his interviews recently is sounding very positive.
Yeah, his post-match one was basically Farke has actually got playing sort of more to my strengths, so I expect to be better. And it made him sound like unless something weird happens, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, and then I suppose that probably the one that stands out most in that team, that in that starting 11, is Somerville.
Yeah,
who I think there probably is still a question mark over. If you go into this now thinking, yippee, Jack Harrison is cropped, and there is no way we can sell him until January, so maybe he's one of the wingers that goes.
Yeah. Somerville played at 10, and he wasn't really standout because that's not really his position. But I think if you get him on the ball, he'll be fine at it because he's technically very good. And Farke likes players in that position to run at people, and Somerville is very good at running at people. It was a bit of an interesting one. The 3 did move around a little bit behind. The structure, it was a bad YouTube stream that I was watching, so it wasn't great and everything. But the most interesting things I thought were Yelder was sort of inverting into midfield in build-up. So we were having sort of so we were sort of ending up with like a 3 and a 2, and then the front line. So we did have plenty of players forward, which you would think will mean that we are going to, one, have to really press if we lose the ball because everyone's going to be upfield anyway, and you're not going to have time to get back, so you're going to have to get into the ball straight away. And 2, I think that is going to make us a bit susceptible on the counter. But if we maintain possession well, that's not as big of a problem. The midfield pairing of Ampadu and Archie Gray, I thought was very good. Ampadu stood out immediately, which is a good sign. Got on the ball well, never gave it away. And for the bit of the second half, they both played because I believe that they both went off on 66. They, by all accounts, were good in the second half too. People praising Yelder, and Pascal Strout got a lot of praise as well, and he was playing right centre-back in this. Because although the team had it listed as Ampadu and Cooper, it was Strout and Cooper with Ampadu in midfield. I'm very interested to see what happens tonight. I haven't checked yet to see how ridiculous Leeds are being in terms of charging for LUTV.
17.99 Maggle.
No, well, if it's £8, if it's £8, I am going to try and find a dodgy stream. If it's £3, I'll probably buy it.
Shouldn't have to buy it.
No, I shouldn't. I've got a season ticket and I pay $3.50 a month for LUTV. I should already get this. Also, if anyone out there hasn't checked your emails, check your emails. My season ticket email came a couple of hours ago. But yeah, I'm looking at the team that we picked there. Right now, how close do you think that will be to our team on the opening day?
I think the obvious one that's probably going to change in that now is Melier. Like we'll come on to it, but obviously I think that'd be Karl Darlow taking his place there.
Yeah.
I'd be worried. I'd be worried if Archie Gray was starting on the opening day. Much as I like him, much as I think he's one for the future. But that all told,
I think it'll be JB.
Yeah, all told, I look at that and think, I think the thing that's trying to weigh up now is whether Cresswell is not starting these games because of his involvement, because he was away at the under-21s, or if it's because Farke doesn't see him as a starting centre back. And in that case, do we continue with Strauch and Cooper and go with two left-footed centre backs?
Yeah. If you can get the confident, well-coached version of Strauch, he'll be fine at right centre back because he's pretty two-footed.
Yeah.
But it just depends on which version of him you get. I still stand by the thing I said 2 years ago. If coached properly and confident, he's our best centre back. But if you watch the version you saw last season, you wouldn't believe me in a million years.
No.
It's the same way I still think Melier is going to be a good goalkeeper. But if you watch the second half of last season, you'd think we found him behind a pub.
Yeah. I mean, the other side of it as well is that looking at the bench. You do have to wonder how involved Joe Gelhardt's going to be this season, given that he's clearly not seen as Farke's striker. How he fits into this, because again, for him, if he's not starting regularly this season, kind of what's he doing here?
Yeah,
I mean that for him.
Yeah, it's weird, the Gelhardt situation, because I'm looking at the team there and thinking, I definitely want Gelhardt around because I think he's an option on the right. I think he's an option at 9. And I think he's an option at 10. But right now, I don't think he's first choice for any of them. I would probably, even though his best position is not number 9, I would probably have Gelhardt as a number 9 before Rutter, because I think Rutter should be deeper and coming forward with the ball more. The thing I'm surprised we haven't seen, actually, is I'm surprised we haven't seen Mateo Joseph get half an hour at 9.
Yeah. I suppose at this point, again, there's the big question mark over whether Bamford will be here. Yeah. And you can understand why Farke sounds as frustrated as he does, like he did after the game against Monaco, because I think truth be told, he still didn't know what his squad was going to look like come the Cardiff game, let alone come the end of August.
Yeah.
I'm still not enthusiastic, by the way. It's not coming anytime soon.
No, it hasn't come yet. I suppose we will see during this week, and hopefully loads of things happen with you, because you're not only are you on holiday, but Phil Hayes as well. So you would think a load of stuff's going to happen.
Yeah, we're all going away at the same time to three of the biggest names in podcasting.
Yeah,
Leeds United podcasting.
Yeah, 6 if it's just for World. So there's been a couple of new deals. Chris Moore and Charlie Crew have both signed 2-year deals.
Charlie Crew is an excellent name, by the way.
Yeah. What I saw Charlie Crew back end last season when he moved up from the 18s, he did look very good. Captain's Wales under 17 level as well, which it's always a good sign when they pick someone for captain. It normally means they've got a decent head on their shoulders. I think he'll be like in the under 21s team every week this year. We'll see how he does. And Chris Moore, I thought had an excellent end to last season. I thought he was really good in the playoff final win, playing at left back. But he is really a centre back. I can't see anyone taking him on loan, so you would think it'll be him and Mullen all season. And maybe they'll probably both get into the squad for the League Cup game against Shrewsbury.
I mean, well, Mullen might well be our most potent threat at the start of this season.
Yeah.
Volleying like he did in that playoff final. In what is now deemed the most pointless play. That's it. To really take away from a Leeds playoff win, by the way, just rendering it completely redundant.
Yeah. You've got promoted from the second tier to the top tier, have you? Well, how about we just combine the leagues anyway? Fuck you.
No more tiers.
The only other things to talk about from that game are there was no Sam Greenwood, which surprised a lot of people, and then someone took a photo with him and he had a protective boot on. So that'll be why. Hopefully it isn't for too long, because even if you don't think he should be in the team, he probably would be in the squad, looking at our squad. And lastly, there was a reason that Max Wober didn't play. Farke came out straight after match and said he didn't play due to a transfer situation. He was then immediately linked everywhere with he was going to Borussia Mönchengladbach. And I did see on Twitter about 90 minutes ago that it's done, basically, and he is going to Mönchengladbach on loan and it sounds like it's another loan with no option to buy, with a loan fee of about 500 grand, which is not a way to run things, but we've clearly been fucked by the previous regime here. The one thing is that's surprising, apparently that loan fee is going to cover the transfer fee for Karl Darlow.
Do you remember when GFH took over? Or tried to take over? Oh, that was a long summer.
Yeah.
It's getting to be a lot like that.
Yeah, but I suppose the difference with this is, though, that all of these things, they can just say, look, we didn't put these in the contract. And then you go, but you did own 44% of the club at the time. And they'll go, shh.
Yeah, don't mention that.
No.
Victor Orta held us at gunpoint.
Do you think Max Wober is the first one that they thought they were going to be able to keep, who was gone?
Yeah. Again, with football, I suppose one of the big issues is that, as with anything, I suppose, you can ask someone straight to their face, do you want to stay? And if he says yes, but then he goes to his agent, get me out of here. There's not a lot you can do at that point. It's a bit disappointing because I quite like Max Wober. His commitment to blocking stuff and clearing stuff off the line was impressive. But I am a Leeds fan. I am quite fickle, and he's only been here for a few months. So go fuck yourself, Max.
Yeah, you Judas bastard.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of convinced myself that he's only been here a few months. Is he going to want to move back to Europe? I'm saying this not knowing his family status at all.
Yeah, he might not have even moved him over yet.
He probably looked at that and went, I'm going to go. You guys stay, because I might be back soon.
Yeah.
So I think the frustrating thing is, and having listened to the most recent Square Ball podcast, and that you kind of realize that the thought process is, well, if we sell them now, we are most likely to make a loss on most of these players. If we get promoted, then we can probably at least get our money back on most of these players if we are back in the Premier League. Because again, I can't see fans taking well to Aronson and Wober coming back into this team.
No,
if we got promoted again, not so much for. I mean, with Aronson, I think it would be unless he has an absolute worldie of a season.
Yeah,
I think you'd look and go, no, we need something else.
Yeah, I don't think anyone had been mad at Aronson if in the hypothetical world we go back up and Aronson comes back. I don't think people would be mad about Aronson being there because he went away on loan. They'd be mad because they'd be like, he isn't really physically cut out for the Premier League.
Yeah,
Wober, I think people will be more pissed off at because he was in all the, when they launched the kit and stuff, he was there and all that, and there was a little bit. he kind of did make it look like he was staying, and then he didn't. Now, it's not like he, quote unquote, owes. He owes us better performances. All the players that took us down owe us a little bit because of that. But that clearly doesn't fucking matter anymore. So, I mean, if they got an offer from Gladbach, I'm not sure. Gladbach came like 10th, didn't they? Mid-table Bundesliga. If you have no emotional attachment, to Leeds, it makes sense as a move. And as soon as they got involved, he probably said, "Yeah, I want to go, and my contract says I can."
Yeah, I don't begrudge people who have absolutely no ties to this club that have been relegated wanting to go play at the top level. I think it's very much the frustrations of football where you look at and just go, like, Christ, you were shit. How have you failed upwards?
Yeah.
But it seems to be the nature of football is that because I suppose you can't just go, we got relegated because Brendan Aronson was terrible. We got relegated because Jesse Marsh was terrible, but that's different.
and he wasn't particularly any better, and Sam Allardyce wasn't either.
And he still nearly got a Premier League job off the back of being terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very easy to look, if you're Max Werber's agent and go, look, he turned up in January. Leeds were already in this battle. Here's some clips of his commitments as a defender. It's not his fault. And teams will go, yep, he looks all right, and we can get him cheap.
Yeah. But I suppose the thing I'm annoyed at again is that it's another loan, no money coming in, the clauses.
Actually live Jack, $500,000.
Yeah, I can actually live with him going because left centre back is the one thing that we've got.
Yeah.
Like we've got Strout, Cooper, and Yelder. Like that should be fine. Provided that, not coached ridiculously badly about that. They should be absolutely fine. So as positions go, it wasn't the worst one to lose. It's just annoying because I thought that it was one of the ones that we were going to be able to keep. But if losing him, if we can keep some of his forward talent, it still sounds like Nat Phillips might come in, and that would make sense for that centre back, and then we'll see where we are. I don't believe there is anything else really news wise. It was a shame about Forshaw going, because again, if this season he suddenly manages to stay fit all season, it'd be easily good enough. But you can't rely on that.
Yeah, and I suppose for him at this point, if the options were most likely stay here, be a squad player, but
by the sounds of it, take a fairly significant wage.
Yeah, take a pay cut because, well, no, Ken Bates' logic, it was a pay rise. He was on zero. He was on the dole. That man was unemployed. He should have been fucking grateful for whatever we offered him.
Yeah.
But no, or go elsewhere, and if you stay fit, play more and get paid more.
Mm.
I mean, that's the one thing you've always got to remember, Jack. If you're not being played, make sure you get paid.
Yeah, paid. The immortal words of the guy whose name I've forgotten.
Was it Ryan Hall or was it
Ryan Hall? I was going to say it was the same as a rugby player.
Yes.
So yeah, that's actually the real way to sort this. We need to bring back Nicky Josie. I did have an annoying thought last night that in this squad there's a massive, 8 who can play 10 shaped hole, and my brain just started thinking about Matthias Klick, and I got sad. He'd have probably stayed.
Yeah, it's a shame really that Alex Mowatt is kind of a top end championship player.
Yeah,
get Byram in, get Taylor in, Mowatt. Lewis Cook's fairly susceptible to injuries. Get him in on loan.
Get him in January after his legs.
Yeah, it sort of worked once for Redfern.
Yeah, right. So then tonight we've got a friendly. I was going to say away at Forest but it's at Burton, isn't it?
Neutral at Burton.
So it's neutral-ish.
Yeah.
I have just checked. It's a £5 if you want to watch it on LUTV, so I'm probably not paying that. I think that's a bit
robbing bastards.
Yeah. There's not really much. I'm just wondering, because we also play Hearts on Sunday. Do you think he'll name basically the same side, maybe JB Figueroa, and sub him after an hour, and then probably do the same against Hearts? Because getting him Thursday, Sunday isn't a bad thing for him to do in pre-season, because they're going to be doing Saturday, Tuesday a lot.
Yeah. It's something they're going to have to get used to. I mean, for some of them, it's a distant memory of when they last had to play regularly twice a week.
Yeah.
I'm sure Luke Ayling and Liam Cooper remember it. Maybe not fondly.
I think that they probably remember it really fondly, because that was one of the... I mean, it was about as good. Liam Cooper will have mixed memories, because he goes back a long way now.
Yeah, I mean, he was part... Might have been Luke Ayling as well that was probably part of that team that went absolutely ages without winning a Tuesday night game.
Yeah. Well, that will probably do us for today. We knew this one was going to be a quick one. Our big one where we do our season preview and predictions and everything is, in theory, I believe, Friday next week.
Yes.
Which we'll try and we will try and get it in before the Friday night game kicks off. But it depends what time I finish work. Casey comes back from holiday that day, but should be early enough that it's fine.
It should be, but I've made some bad choices before. Let's see how they are when they're sleep deprived.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a
Sunderland are going all the way.
This is like one of the first years where I might be agreeing with you on something. So yeah, that we will do with that one next time out, and that's always my favourite one of the year to do, where we go for everything. We're not going to, now that we're back to being Championship also lands, we're not going to do the thing that we used to do, which was we used to do the entire
the Football League.
But we used to do the Premier League, Championship, League One, League Two. We'll probably do Premier League and Championship, because we don't really need to think about it for the Premier League, because it's so well marketed and everything that you already know everything, even if you don't try.
I thought we'd just ignore Europe.
We might ignore Europe.
Yeah, there's no need to.
Ignoring Europe. I've predicted Man City to win the Champions League every year, and they have now.
Yeah.
So we can ignore it. But yeah, that will do us for episode 223. This was more just housekeeping. We needed to get one in before KC goes away. So I've been Jack. See you.
I'm